Good evening. Welcome to the Celtic Way post-match reaction. Celtic 1, Motherwell 1, with me, Tony Haggerty, at Haggerty10 on the Twitter or X handle, and I'm joined by Ryan McGinlay, at the Ryan McGinlay on the Twitter or X handle. Ryan, you were there. We'll discuss that in the fullness of time. Yes, indeed, Celtic spilled 2 crucial Premiership points, but first and foremost, we say thank you to our sponsor, MPH Group. MPH Group, for all your plumbing, kitchen, heating and bathroom needs. The briefings are brought to you by MPH Group, and they're Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist, covering all of mainland Scotland, and every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway, and you can win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. And with winter rolling in, if you're thinking of giving your home heating system a boost, MPH has an enticing Navien Boiler Winter Promotion for you. You can see the Navien sign up there. And if you opt for a Navien Boiler installation through MPH Boilers, you're choosing top-tier efficiency, and you're also getting a free Navien Internet Controller. And that little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And the cherry on top of that is they're covering the first year's service with no added costs. And MPH even offer flexible finance options. So gear up for a winter chill and consider making a smart move with MPH and Navien. And you'll find all the links to MPH's social media sites and telephone number in the description of this video. And not only that, Ryan, we are offering our best ever Celtic Way subscription deal, £12 for 12 months to have access to everything that we write on the website. A wonderful deal, Ryan, don't you think?
Yep, absolutely. For £12, you can get 12 months of unlimited access to the Celtic Way website. You'll get instant analysis from the game, even though that might be a bit of a difficult read. Get an instant analysis from the game. You'll get Q&As from the player, from players, from manager. You've also got analysis pieces on there, scouting pieces. Anything that you could look for with regard to Celtic-based journalism, it should be there on the Celtic Way website. We thank everybody that's joined us so far using this special Black Friday deal that's going on until, it's from Friday to Friday. But we can't do it without you. We cannot continue to do these free videos after a game, before a game, and in the morning briefings without your help. So if you are able to do so, please visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe and get subscribing and join the Celtic Way. We would really appreciate everybody, if you can, to join us on the Celtic Way. So yeah, if you're available to do so, please join up, and thank you to everybody who has done so far. We should probably get into talking about what transpired at Celtic Park, unfortunately, Tony.
Celtic 1, Motherwell 1, a tale of 2 penalties and a last-minute goal. High drama, kind of rerun of the game at Firth Park without a last-minute winner, really, wasn't there? Ryan, Lewis Palmer missed a penalty in the 65th minute. David Turnbull scored a penalty in the 85th minute to put Celtic ahead, and then Celtic conceded a goal from a corner kick from John Obika, Blair Spittle corner in the 89th minute, and there was 10 minutes of injury time. Celtic huffed and puffed, couldn't get a winner. Ryan, what do you say to that? Just a poor, below par performance, as it says in the strapline. Below par hosts pay the price for poor home performance. They were dreadful, weren't they?
They got what they deserved in the end, which was just a point. Now, I know people will say that Motherwell were not that great in the game. They only had a handful of chances. I think they had 2, one that Joe Hart saved, and the other one being the goal that they converted. Celtic did not do enough, unfortunately, today to merit a win. The chances that they created were not taken. There was a couple of players that really just were not out the races today for whatever reason, but that may be down to international exploits, due to a bit of rustiness, due to not playing for 2 weeks. But all in all, Celtic got what they deserved. I would be saying the same thing if we were talking about a 1-0 win, which is what it probably should have been if Celtic could defend a corner. We would have been talking about a 1-0 game, but it would have papered over the cracks, which was that performance and that showing. There were cracks in the performance. There's a lot of players, as I said before, that didn't cover themselves in glory at all. We would have got away with it. Celtic would have got away with it if they got the 1-0 win, but they didn't. and Motherwell were probably deserving of their point at the end of the day. As annoying as that is to say, Celtic just didn't do enough on the day to fully secure their win, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also, did you say too many players were off form, and the manager touched upon it in his aftermatch, saying that corners can be decisive moments in games. They can win you games, you can lose your games, they can cost you points. Honest to goodness, I'm wondering when Celtic are going to start converting corners, because they get their fair share of them, don't they? And don't seem to do anything with them. Yet other teams seem to be able to exploit Celtic's weaknesses and defences. But, that was Motherwell's, I think it was their first attack of the second half. And they scored.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. And they scored. John Obika coming off Greg Taylor, getting a glancing kind of header on the ball, nestling in the bottom corner. But I don't know about you, Ryan, but I know you can point the finger of blame at certain people, but I don't think Greg Taylor's positioning was great. But got to question the goalkeeper as well. If the goalkeeper knows that's getting, punted into your box, you're the only one that can use your hands. Go and punch it, because it didn't come in with any great force. I think if your goalkeeper positions himself to anticipate that ball coming, he can get it. Or if he knows he's not going to get it, don't stray from his line, because he could have picked up that ball easily. Once it lands John Obika's head, if he's he just seemed to be in no man's land again.
I would never go and say and go in a sort of rant saying "I told you so" with regard to a player, because it's just not the platform to do so. And I would only do a "I told you so" sort of comment if it was a good thing, if it was a positive. Like, you call for a player to start a game and then you vindicate that performance with maybe a goal or an assist or a good defensive performance if you're a defender. We've been talking about this for months. Unfortunately, that goal was just a showing of two positions that Celtic are really quite weak in my opinion. Although Greg Taylor has had and Joe Hart as well, they've both had good performances in the season. They have been up and down in terms of their form, but that, you see, when the going gets tough there, and it is a good delivery in from Blair Spittle, who has been a problem for Celtic in recent matches. He scored that goal, scored the equaliser at Fir Park, and then he put in the delivery for Obita's goal, which was the equaliser in that game. Obviously, there wasn't any goals apart from that. Out with that, after that goal was scored. But yeah, with Joe Hart and with Greg Taylor, why is Greg Taylor marking that forward?
Big John Obika.
He's absolutely massive. There is about just under a foot between them, I would say, in terms of height. Joe Hart is, and I think Joe Hart, to be fair to him, he recognises this. He recognises that there is a mismatch and tries to get involved. Yep. But what he does then is he just springs for some reason. He just gets lost in the middle, and yeah, it is a decent header just in the back of Vita's head. But at the same time, it's a really, really poor goal from Celtic to concede. If Celtic concede from any corners, it is a poor goal, because it means that defensively there has been a problem. The man hasn't been picked up. I just think Taylor looked weak in that exchange, to be perfectly honest. And then Joe Hart, I don't know. There's not even a point in him jumping there, because he's not getting anywhere. He's not getting anywhere near it. It's just poor. It's just a poor goal to concede. It looked poor at the time, and the clips following the game have only solidified that point and cemented that point. It was just a really, really comical goal to concede at the back so late on in the game too, when you've managed to get yourself ahead 1-0, maybe get away with it at home. Just dust yourselves off. Say it was a bad performance, but you still get the 3 points. Now Celtic have dropped points and they've opened the door up for other teams to close in, which is disappointing.
Yeah, big style. Now I want to get back to a point that we made in the Aberdeen game, and Lewis Palmer confidently stroked home his penalty. But we spoke about that run-up, didn't we? Didn't like it. Didn't think it would serve him well moving forward. And he did the exact same thing today. Did the exact same run-up and put it in the exact same place. And Liam Kelly has read it and saved it. And I think I wrote in my instant analysis, if you canvass the Celtic supporters, I don't think they'd be comfortable with that kind of run-up, Ryan, do you? It looks good when you score, but when you miss, doesn't look as clever or as good, does it? So
I've got to be honest. I've only seen the penalty once, and from where I was looking at it, I thought it was a well hit penalty. It was just a good save from the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper. It's one of those ones where it's always going to get called a bad penalty because he doesn't score, he doesn't convert. But I thought it was a really, really good save from Liam Kelly. I don't like the run up.
The only good penalties ones that go in, right? I'm not having.
And that's difficult because
it was a well hit struck or well struck. The goalie saved it, so it's not a good penalty. It's a bad miss. Always a bad miss from the penalty spot. But we highlighted it after the Aberdeen game that I wasn't too convinced about the run up. Let's put it that way. And today I was even less convinced, and the inevitable happened. And then Turnbull gets a chance to score from the spot with 5 minutes to go, and Celtic should see it out. So Celtic really should see the game out at that point, because it's 85 minutes gone, isn't it?
Yeah, 85 minutes. You're at home. Just manage the game, manage the rest of the game, and make sure that you get the points. I was thinking when Celtic scored the goal, they would actually go and score a couple more because of the 10 minutes added time. They their tails would be up. O had a couple of chances that came his way that he should have done better with, but he was going to get the chances in extra time and the added time. Because it was a very. I think there are a lot of factors that you could talk about with regard to this game. One of them being that it was an incredibly bitty game where there was no tempo whatsoever. And I know that Brendan Rodgers talked about having 80% possession, but there was no tempo whatsoever. There was somebody in the comments that said that Celtic could have won 5-0 on the day because they played well. I've got to say I completely disagree. I thought they were turgid the whole game. Their game was slow. The passes were either too under-hit or they were over-hit. There was too many silly touches. You look at likes of Odin Holm. Every second touch he seemed to be a tackle because he couldn't get the ball out of his feet whenever it went to him. It was just a really, really disappointing day. I don't think that they deserved to win, in all honesty, and I'm going to call a spade a spade. If they would have got the win, I would have been on here saying that they would have gotten away with one, but they haven't, and that's just how I feel, to be honest.
In terms of Odin Thiago Holm, he was getting into some good positions as well, and his lack of composure, his lack of a first touch, and his lack of his distribution, I thought at times were pretty awful. And he's not made the most of the chances that the manager's given him. I still believe there's a player in there, but he has to learn to relax on it a bit and do the basics right. He was struggling for basic control, wasn't he? As you say, second touch of tackle, his distribution was awry and wayward. So I was just that, but he wasn't alone. Lots of players were off, weren't they? To be fair, so off the boil. Lots of comments coming in, Ryan, so we'll take a few. Francis Lester, total proof of the lack of quality Celtic have in reverse. To struggle to break down a team who hadn't won in how many games was embarrassing, even with the help of penalties which Celtic contrived to miss. Hazel Finn, how you doing, Hazel? Too many players were off the boil today. And Jill Pill saying embarrassing performance today against a rotten team. And he comes back in and saying that Hart needs to come for that ball. I totally agree. And Brian Roberts, too many draws could cost the title. Well, they've had 3 draws already this season, yeah?
Draws, for me, draws are defeats in the league. Celtic should be winning the vast majority of the games, especially at home. The fact that they've drawn, I can accept the Hibs one because Hibs are a decent team at home, but the St Johnstone, Celtic had better chances in the St Johnstone game than they did today, and that was I remember we were doing the post-match. I was doing it outside, just at the velodrome, and the alarm bells were ringing. Now, I'm not going to go that far just now because a couple of weeks prior we saw Celtic put 6 past Aberdeen. It shows that the firepower is there.
Yeah.
But there was no tempo whatsoever. It looked disjointed today. It was that horseshoe sort of passing where it was going from one wing to the other and then back the way without any penetration. Motherwell were playing with a low block. You've got to work with the wings. You can't pass it back the way. That also happened to me. Ange Postecoglou would have been absolutely raging if he was in charge of that team today, because how many times did Celtic pass the ball back to the defence and to the goalkeeper? and they had to totally reset. And in turn, that buoyed Motherwell, because then they knew that they were defending well, they were defending resolutely. But just going back to that horseshoe shape, the wingers had to do better today. You know, Palma, it was an off day for Palma. Yang endeavoured, as I tweeted about an hour ago, but absolutely nothing came off for him. Now, I'm not going to slate him because he didn't go hiding. He was trying to make things happen. I think his race was run for about 10 minutes before he was actually taken off with what looks like a hamstring injury. If that is the case and he's out for games, then I think that's poor management, if I'm being perfectly honest. Because they should have realised that he was running on empty for about 10 minutes before Tillio came on. You know, Tillio actually came on and made a decent impact with the limited minutes that he had. He looked like he wanted to take on his man. But, you know, I'm clutching at straws in terms of positives today, because Celtic were so far off it and they got what they deserved.
Yeah, as a famous Radio Clyde commentator once said, Jimmy Sanderson, it was all perspiration and not inspiration, Ryan. I think that sums up Celtic today. Marquis comes in. O should be taking penalties when he's on. He's a natural striker. Turnbull next. Does Palmer not realise opposition players watch highlights, trying that wee dance in the spot and hitting it the same way again? I was a bit perturbed by that myself.
Thing about Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers said he was going to the right all throughout training this week, and then he changed his mind on the day. See that? You've got to stick to your guns. You've got to stand by the way that you've been playing during the week. If you're going to be taking a penalty one way, if you've decided that way, then stick to your guns and just go for the way that you know, a way that has been working and training. It's just it's a disappointment. It's a good save, you know. It was going in, but it's a good save from Kelly. You've got to fool the goalkeeper. A decent shot stopper is Kelly. I know, but it was a bad miss.
Bad miss. John Flanagan, think you're in the minority here, John, but Celtic played well, could have won 5-0. It's a funny old game. He still reckons that Celtic will win the league. I'm not so sure that I thought they played well, John.
That was the comment that I was talking about. I completely disagree with that point.
Chilpel, Joe Hart really is replaced. And Hazel Finn saying, don't know how Kyogo is supposed to score without the service. Where was the crosses from the wingers? Too much through the middle, back and forth and sideways. Yep. Francis Lester, I hate all that fancy dance stuff that Palmer does when he shouldn't be allowed. He shouldn't be allowed to take another penalty till he's learned how to take them properly.
Thing is,
doesn't like the stupid run-ups. Palmer needs to stop this. Home is poor and shows him nothing. He's saying.
The thing about penalties, the penalties weren't even the problem today, because Celtic got 2 and they converted one. They converted the second one. I think there'd be more of a problem if they'd missed the both of them, or even if they'd missed the second one. The fact that David Turnbull came on showed why he should maybe be starting games now, in all honesty, because he scored in his 4th consecutive game for Celtic. He is very, very good from the penalty spot. I don't think he's missed a penalty for Celtic, or if he has.
No, he missed one, didn't he? I'm sure he didn't miss one against Dundee or somebody. I'm sure he did. He missed one, certainly, anyway. Chilpel saying Tillio looked okay when he came on. Didn't see him too much, but I mean, he looked like he had a burst of speed and pace, and
things did look like they were going to happen when they went down to his side. Those couple of times that he was fed the ball, but you know, we need more of a sample size before we make any judgments on Tillio. I reserve judgment until he's fully fit and he's played a number of games. You know, down that side, I think Celtic were missing maybe 2 players today. I hate talking about players that aren't available that Celtic would have missed if they were in the team. But you're crying out for a player like Abada to put his laces through it, or you're crying out for a Maeda that's going to give you that work rate for the 90 minutes. Just different options. You know, if it wasn't working, I wouldn't be making these points if it didn't. If it happened for Yang on the day, or if it happened for Palmer, fact is they didn't play to the levels that we know that they can. And having those players in reserve that can make the difference and have made the difference in the past, not having them available hurts the side in the process.
Of course. Rido Man comes in and says, terrible game. Passing doesn't make up for goals. Celtic had 80% possession and still ended up relying on penalties. That's a joke, attacking wise. He's saying that's fair enough. And so lots of Hazel coming in. It'd be more of a problem if we hadn't got the penalties. At least VAR noticed them this time. and Chilpel saying Yang will be out with a hammy now. Does Tilly will get his chance? What that remains to be seen. But yeah, I was disappointed that Yang could be out with a hamstring injury. And one of my dogs is whining. You might be able to hear that. She's lying on the floor. But,
I think she had kind of hooping today.
She must have done, yeah. Evie no happy. There you go. But yeah, it's disappointing, Ryan, because we made a big deal about the fact that Celtic could take a massive stride and go 11 points clear and put the pressure back on their rivals. It's kind of blown up in their face a bit today, and you've rightfully said that Celtic didn't deserve anything more from it. I kind of tend to agree with you, because for all Liam Kelly saved a penalty, he didn't have much else to do, did he? In fact, the one he saved was from his own player, wasn't it, Stephen O'Donnell?
His own man, yeah. It was a phenomenal save.
It was a great save, great fist, or a great hand that he got to that. So, give me a second.
He's a no, absolutely.
This dog is whining.
No bother at all. Yeah, Liam Kelly came up with another really good performance against Celtic today. He seems to always he's one of these players that definitely steps up against Celtic. It was a really good save. From where I was sitting, it looked as if there was a couple of people that were just talking about the Liam Kelly save. From where I was sitting, it looked as if it was either a save from Kelly or it went off the bar, such as was the connection that he got on the.
It was a brilliant save. It was a really strong arm that he got to, because at one point I actually thought it might have been over the line, but it was right on the goal line, because I was waiting on maybe VAR to check it, because I thought that could be over the line, but he got a really, really strong hand. Anything other than a strong hand, it would have gone in the net, because it was going at some speed.
I think that's a sad indictment of what Celtic's attacking play was. Today, that was probably the best save that he had to make, was apart from the penalty, of course, was from his own player. Yeah. Kyogo was a spectator today. Apart from his work, the only time I can properly remember him being on the ball was on the counter that led to the penalty, that led to Palma's penalty. Yeah. Where he got given the ball and he was allowed to turn. That was the only chance that he really had any sort of space to manoeuvre, which was really, really disappointing. You look back at those chances. The one that Scales had that led to the penalty, I'm guessing. And what was the penalty given for? Was it given for a foul on Scales, or was it a handball?
The second one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was given for a tug on Mikey Johnson. It was a pull.
Was it Mikey Johnson? Right, okay.
Because Mikey Johnson screamed for it. And the minute he screamed, the referee, Steve McLean, was like, wait a second, we're going to check it. And then he was tugged. The first one was given for Mugabe. On O, yeah.
There was quite a lengthy VAR check on that one to try and rule it out. Which it
was a stonewall, because he cleaned them out. So I don't know why it took so long, but the second one I thought was a bit more, I wouldn't say dubious, but it was a wee bit more in the balance. But when you saw it in real time, there was, or you saw the replay, certainly, you saw the tug, and Mikey Johnson, fair play to Mikey Johnson. Mikey Johnson went absolutely mental at the referee, and it was largely down to that. Where I thought he got a hearing, because he made a massive deal about it,
He's getting a lot of stick on social media for some reason, and
Mikey Johnson.
I don't understand why, because I think he's a bit of a scapegoat, if I'm being honest. He's people have made their minds up about a certain player and they'll stick to it. But I thought he was quite industrious when he came on. He was trying to make things happen. As the same for Yang, not everything came off for him. But he was trying to take on his man, trying to take shots, and trying to get Celtic out of a hole, especially when it was one each, and then Celtic were trying to push for the winner. Obviously, it never came, but at least he was trying. At least he's coming on and trying to fight for his place and fighting for the team and getting the 3 points. But yeah, I don't think Mikey Johnson was the problem today. A lot of people might paint him as being the problem, or maybe as part of a wider issue on the squad depth. But in terms of individual performance, I thought he was okay. Yes, there was a couple of times where he couldn't beat his man, but he did get a couple of shots away, and yeah, he endeavoured. That's there's hardly any positives you can take from this.
I just think it was a really poor day at the office, wasn't it? There's not really any players that came away with pass marks. Maybe you said the central defenders, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales. You were quite impressed with them, but I mean, for all you might have been impressive, they never really had a lot to do, did they? Because Motherwell just weren't really interested.
There was one moment where Carter-Vickers reads the flight of the ball perfectly and headers it down before the striker, I think it was Bielef, was close to getting in on goal. He reads the ball really, really well and stops any danger from transpiring. I just think the two of them, now I thought they were going to get split up because for about 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes, Liam Scales was on the ground. We didn't know what was happening. This is the thing when you're, maybe you've got an advantage when you're watching the game on a stream, Tony, but you don't know what is up with the player. There's no updates or anything whatsoever. We didn't know whether it was a concussion or it was bleeding or something like that. Thankfully, he got up and continued the game, but you know, Nat Phillips was out there training for the 5-6 minutes with the view to maybe coming on. Thankfully, Scales stayed on, and I thought he was pretty faultless. He tried to shoot at the end, which went wide, but you know, that's not his game. His game is to defend, and I don't think he could have done anything for the goal. You know, it was Taylor's man.
Yeah, correct. And I don't, as I say, I'm not scapegoating the likes of Taylor and Hart. I just felt that both of them could have, you know, did better. You know, at that set piece. It's a set piece goal. The manager says Celtic have to learn to do better. So when the manager's saying that, then you know that it's a poor goal, isn't it, to lose? Let's be honest, and especially when you get out of jail with a penalty in the 85th minute, a second one, and I get back to it. Celtic should be comfortably seeing that out against a team who I think that was one of their first forays up the park, certainly in the second half.
It was just the one foray up the park. It deflects off a player and goes out for a corner. All of a sudden, Motherwell are buoyed by it. The fans are shouting for it, they're screaming for it.
But that's what they were playing for, wasn't it? They were playing for that, you know. So once they go a goal down with 5 minutes to go, that's their MO. They're going to try and get a set piece and put you under pressure. And that's what they did. So Francis Leicester, he's very worried about Kyogo being told to drop and get more involved in the build-up play. In my opinion, that's nonsense. He scored nearly 30 goals the last 2 seasons playing up front, so why change? You know my thoughts on it. I've said it many a time. He's a striker. I don't want him 30 yards from goal and getting involved, but put him in where it hurts, because he will hurt teams. And
striker's only as good as his service as well. Yeah, and he's getting absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he never got anything today, but even still, I still want him to be an old-fashioned striker, centre forward, call him what you like. I want him to play as a number 9. So, 88 saying Celtic supporters moan about the league being poor, then write off the teams they play when they give it a go. I think Motherwell defended very well today. They defended resolutely. I don't think they gave it a go. They gave it a go when they went 1 down after 85 minutes. And by that, I mean, they went up the park and played for a set piece, which they got, which they made the most of their opportunity. I can't say I agree with Motherwell having a go, because they didn't, because Celtic had 80% of the possession, didn't they? I think that was something ridiculous like that, the stat was.
No, the time wasting stopped when Celtic went 1-0 up. Because there was a lot of time in the game, you know. So Kelly was taking a lot of time with the ball, with her goal kicks, and that they did speed up when it was 1-0 down. To be fair, they got their chance and they took it. And
they came for a point, and they got their point on the basis of their defensive performance and the fact that they chased it when they went a goal down and got what they wanted from it, one opportunity, and they took it. So I don't necessarily equate that to Motherwell having a go, but they set their stall out for a point in terms of the way they played and they got it. So you have to say fair play to them, because they had a game plan, they stuck to it rigidly and got their just rewards from it against a team who Celtic were playing against a team who were finding points hard to come by recently. So I think that's even more galling, that you can't break them down, and even when you got the chance from 12 yards, you spurned one of them, 1 out of 2, which is more annoying as well.
Sometimes teams and individual teams they play in a way that just is difficult to play against. For whatever reason, Celtic have struggled in 2 games against Motherwell. Yes, they got away with it at Fir Park, but they didn't get away with it at home. Although they had 80% in possession, they would have had similar amounts at Fir Park. I remember being at that game, and they had a lot of the ball. But there are some teams that they really, really struggle with, and they struggled with Motherwell. They struggled to break them down. Once they did, through the penalty spot, through the second time of asking, Motherwell had a job to do. They had to go and get a goal. They had to get something from the game, and Celtic couldn't defend a 1-0 lead at home, which is you can't dress it up in any other way. It is poor from Celtic's perspective, and it's 2 points dropped because you're in a winning position. I wouldn't say 2 points dropped if it was nothing each, because they've not scored a goal. But the fact that they were 1-0, 86 minutes on the clock, and then they still dropped 2 points.
Yeah, it's a crucial 2 points they've spoke today, or it could be crucial. It is what it is. Comes in and says Kyogo should be the front man playing on the shoulder with the team built to feed him all game. My sentiments exactly. He should be up front, but there you have it. Now, lots of comments and coming in and stuff. It's not been the easiest day to be a Celtic supporter, has it? With the result, Celtic won, Motherwell won, but I'm going to address this. Chilpil, he was saying at the start, let me know when the debate starts. Now, sponsorship of the podcast or sponsorships of the briefing from MPH Group and subscriptions with the best ever deal, they're vital to keep doing what we do, or on a daily basis. They're at the heart of what we do every day. The YouTube videos are free, but everything else that we do comes at a cost. And so having a sponsor like MPH Group and being able to offer the best ever Black Friday deal for subscribers keeps us doing what we do and ticking over. So that's why we devote a lot of time to mentioning our sponsors and also talking about the various deals. It really is that simple. It helps us keep doing what we do on a daily basis, because we like to take time over articles that we do and not just throw up anything on the website. And we believe that in order for those quality articles and for people to be the Celtic way to become the kind of go-to for people like yourselves, that comes at a cost. We try and keep those costs down to a minimum, but that's why everything that comes into the coffers from MPH Group and the deals, the subscription deals, that's why we do them, to help everything tick along and go over smoothly. And that right, Ryan? So that's why we devote time at the start to bigging up our sponsor and then mentioning the deals. And I know it maybe takes 5 or 10 minutes to do that, but it's worthwhile for us because it helps us do what we do on a daily basis. So I thought I would explain that, because there's been a lot of comments in the YouTube section as well about skip to 10 minutes because they're talking about the deals and their sponsors. But that's why we do it. It helps keep us doing what we do. And we know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but we're going to do it anyway. So get used to it, as they say, because we're thankful for all the sponsorship that we get. And we're also thankful for our subscribers as well. So I just thought I would address that, Ryan, because a few people were making comments about that and just thought we'd level with them. Yeah.
You've got to keep these, as we've said, these videos are free content. They're free content for anybody to view. We need to find ways of being able to keep the free content going, and the way in which we do that is through our Black Friday deals, through the website, and through our sponsorships as well. They really do help us in keeping the podcast afloat. Without them, we couldn't necessarily do these free content videos every single day, both on weekdays and in terms of post-match, pre-match stuff as well. So we do thank our sponsors. They need to be there in order for us to continue to stay afloat. And we try and be as quick as we can with regard to the adverts.
Joe Phil, he gets it, Tony, but it's brutal. It goes on too long. That's why we extend the videos. Sometimes they're an hour, sometimes they're 45 minutes, sometimes like this, they're 35, 40 minutes. So we try and give you, was it VFM, value for money, as they say, Ryan, don't we? We're trying that because we're aware that we spend time doing that. So we're trying to strike a happy medium, Chow Pal. All right, so work with us on this, please. That's all we say.
Yeah,
and he tries and listens every day at work. He eats into his time. Just put a flyer along the bottom of the feed or something. We do put flyers along. You can see them on the bottom, but we have to mention it too. That's the whole point of being on the podcast. Sorry if it eats into your time, sir. Don't mean to inconvenience you, but hey, it's something that's necessary, and that's why we do it. All right, Chill. Appreciate your comments, though. To be fair,
there is a comment that actually has been brought up. I think it was Kyle Watson that brought up the comment. I'm just having a wee look for it just now. Can I make a point about Kelly's handball outside his box? What's both your thoughts on it? It's quite weird because when I was watching it, it seemed as if he got a final warning from the referee, as if don't do that outside the box again. I thought that was at least a yellow card.
But in a situation like that, VAR can't get involved because it's only for mistakes or red cards, goals or penalties. So that was the message that Jerry on Celtic TV, Jerry McCulloch, put out on Celtic TV. So you got to ask yourself, what's the referee and the assistant seeing there? Because if they've seen that,
I thought it was pretty clear and obvious.
Yeah, clear and obvious error that he made, because he even dropped the ball and then kicked it into the box and then picked it up. So it was kind of the actions of a guilty man. So he should have been dug up for it. So Kyle, I agree. I think he should have been sent off for handball outside the box, and Celtic should have got some kind of foul awarded. But you know, it's one of them, isn't it?
It's one of those ones, and you don't want to be accused of having sour grapes when your team when Celtic have dropped points, and you're looking to refereeing decisions. Yeah. Can't look at refereeing decisions today because Celtic got 2 penalties today. You know, they only converted one of them. There is a time and a place, and it's certainly not here.
I'll bring this in. His goal kicks were outside his box as well. Jerry McCulloch.
I noticed that as well.
Jerry kept digging him up about that. He's out his box again, Jerry would say. And also, he thought that Palmer's penalty was going to be retaken because he was off his line. But when they showed one of the stills or one of the frames, that his back leg was still on the line. So he got the benefit of the doubt in that. But Jerry McCulloch and Simon Dorner, who were in the commentary box, actually thought Palmer's kick was going to get retaken because he'd encroached off his line. But I think there was part of his leg was kind of still on the
goal. There only needs to be part.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think he got the benefit of the doubt on it. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. But no, I agree, Kyle. I thought that he should have been dug up for handball and should have. Well, if that's the case, then he would have been sent off, wouldn't he?
Yeah, or at least a yellow card. I'm not gonna sit here and make decisions because it's what Celtic didn't do on the pitch today that cost them, rather than what other teams did. What the opposition did do. At the end of the day, Celtic have just got to own it. They've got to channel it. They go to a European game on Tuesday, and then they've got St Johnstone at that weekend as well. So yeah, they've got to get back on the horse and get back to winning ways. Yeah,
and you're in your car, you've been freezing all day. I'm going to let you go home and get some kind of heat, my good friend. It's never easy when you come on after a game. You try and be as honest and as straight-laced as possible, and in terms of your opinion. But it's never a good time to come on when Celtic haven't won a match, especially a match like today. Kind of leaves you a bit frustrated, doesn't it, Ryan? But I think we've both been honest in the fact that I don't think Celtic deserved more than what they got today, to be fair. Did they?
Nah, but I think I've got no qualms with the result whatsoever because they were trailing or not trailing. We were on level we were on terms with Motherwell until the 86th minute. So even that. Maybe I'm not as disappointed because of that, and the fact that they took the lead so late and then it was an equaliser. The game was in the balance for so long that I don't think there was any time to be disappointed. But you're still there's still a what if with regard to what if Celtic clung on and got the 3 points. We'll see how much of an impact that has has on tomorrow's proceedings. But Celtic have opened the door, and it's through their own faults, and they've got to own that and just go into the next games with a renewed sense of, I don't know what the word would be, a renewed sense of vigour and an awareness that the league is closer than what people are saying.
Celtic failed to control the controllables. We all speak about that. So Rebel 95 coming in and saying, remember when it was a wardrobe people didn't like? Now it's a sponsored valor. Yes, I'm staring at the wardrobe. There you go. Thank you for that. And Francis Lester ending in a song, Ryan. Win, lose or draw, we only know there's going to be a show, and it's the Celtic. That's very kind, so thank you, Francis. I always say that it's result dependent in your weekend. Celt 88, enjoy the weekend, everyone. I hope it's not put too much of a dampener on your weekend. Celtic won, Motherwell won. Celtic miss a penalty, score a penalty. And Hazel Finn asking you, Ryan, do you think the lack of crowd is making a difference?
Yeah, it was. There was no atmosphere again today, to be honest, which I think really, it hurt. There was more of an atmosphere outside the ground than inside the ground, and that in itself is a problem. Hopefully, it gets resolved in the next couple of weeks. The adults in the room can resolve whatever it is that's going on, whatever problems are between the two parties, and they can get back to the way it was, because it is hurting the overall match, the experience. It's probably hurting the players on the pitch because they're not used to not having the noise with them, and it's got to go back to normal. Any sort of advantage that you can get in terms of home court advantage has got to be taken, and that is by the noise that the Green Brigade and the boys make. So
I'd like to think
it's okay
for resolved by December the 30th, Ryan. I think maybe today shows that it's imperative that it gets resolved by December the 30th.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. But at the same time, I don't think that it should just be like a result that brings us on. The fact that they got away with it against St Mirren with regard to their late goal, it shows that there's maybe a pattern in certain home games. They didn't get away with it today, but they'll move on. They've got Tuesday and then the weekend. So yeah, that's what the focus should be on. It's all in the past now.
Indeed. Now, sorry, Chill, but I'm going to mention it again. For all your plumbing, heating, kitchen and bathroom needs, we say thank you to our sponsor, MPH Group. And if you log on to, if you look in the description of this video, you'll see links to their social media sites and their telephone number as well. And you can check out that Navien Boiler Promotion that we spoke about at the start of the programme. And also, hit that button, guys, subscribe button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. It's our best ever deal. We've been in existence for 2.5 years, and £12 for 12 months is absolutely outstanding value for money. We put a lot of effort into this, as you know, so that's our best ever deal. It's a Black Friday deal. It's on till next Friday, so we thank everybody that's taken it up already. We thank you. We thank our existing subscribers. Thanks very much. And give us a try. We endeavour to provide top quality football journalism covering the club you love. That's our watchwords, buzzwords. And hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. There you go, Ryan.
There was a mathematician that worked out as 3 pence a day. That's how much you'd be paying across the whole year. I've not had that verified, but I'm willing to admit that you're probably a better mathematician than me. Yeah, but what I do know, and it's a bit of an easier calculation, it's £1 a month for the next 12 months. That'll be you sorted, a one-off payment, and you'll be here until the end of November next year. So you'll have all of the transfer window, you'll have all of the summer transfer window as well as any trophies that Celtic win during that time, or any events that happen from now until November. So if you want to be clued up and ready for everything that's coming, with regard to results, with regard to analysis, scouting reports, opinion pieces, hot takes, whatever your fancy, it will be on the Celtic Way, and that would be you sorted until November next year.
Indeed. Now, a little over 3 pence a day, says Marky. He's rounded down. Hazel Finn, thanks very much. Well done, boys, as always. That's very kind. Guys, thank you so much. I always say it's your results, your moods are always intrinsically linked to the fortunes of this football club. Celtic won, Motherwell won, not what Celtic desired or wanted from today, but I guess they got what they deserved, which wasn't very much for a lacklustre, poor, below par performance, bad day at the office, call it what you will. But yeah, thanks for your comments. We endeavour to throw up as many of them as we can. Ryan, you go home and get a heat, fella, and we'll see you on Monday. And we'll talk about it all again, and we'll see what damage has been done, Ryan. Basically,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll know more on Monday about what the current situation is with regard to the league table. So yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Hit that button, guys. Appreciate it very much. So have a good night. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend.